This is me entering a sensory deprivation tank, also known as flotation therapy. It's a tight chamber that has 1,000 pounds of salt water to make you float, but it also has no sound and no light to, well, deprive you of your senses. It claims to have a lot of benefits. For example, the Navy SEALs have reduced their language learning time from 6 months to 6 weeks using tanks like these. And athletes like these guys have all claimed that it reduces their stress, improves their sleep, recovers their muscles. I'm skeptical. I said it. I am skeptical. What do you mean learn a whole language in 6 weeks rather than 6 months? What?
It sounds like you're actually interested in truly documenting an experience, wanting it to be authentic, doing it for 3 hours as opposed to 30 minutes. Yeah.
Absolutely. So after some research, I found a place in Brooklyn to try this myself, but with a twist. In order to fully experience this therapy, I decided to do triple the normal session length, 3 hours, and document everything that happens. Will my cognitive abilities go superhuman? Will my senses heighten? Will I be able to complete this 8th grade level multiplication table faster after I float? If I'll be honest with you, what you're about to watch is genuinely one of the most interesting, one of the toughest, and one of the most vulnerable experiences I've ever had. Today's the day. Today is the day. 3 hours in a sensory deprivation tank. There's a little bit of the research that kind of freaked me out. There's something there that says, not all cases of flotation therapy has been positive. That in fact, people can freak out when they hear their heartbeat for that long. Not to freak myself out or anything after reading that 2 hours before I'm in this locked room for 3 hours. But something of concern. That was the first time I felt somewhat nervous doing this. Do you think once we get out of the car we could do one of those NBA pregame walkouts?
You actually dressed for it.
Yeah. The right to plates to exit right to exit
24C.
There'll be live performances, lion dancing, music, everything. It'll be fun.
You know about
And
me.
then
I have a grapple.
I'm looking to run the 2025.
3 hours, no phone. Good luck. Good luck. All right.
Ready?
Yep.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Tage Slur broadcast. Today we have none other than Tage Slur doing another psychological. So the last time seen daylight. That's a lie, actually. It's not. So right as I got to the location, I had this weird feeling. I was nervous because here I am about to do something that's deemed challenging, but also not in the way of the challenging things I've had to do in the past. So I'm preparing as if I'm about to give a huge performance, as if I'm about to go on stage or about to run a marathon. But in reality, what I'm about to do is the exact opposite. I'm supposed to go into this tank and do nothing? I'm about to do sensory deprivation for 3 hours, and to put that to the test, I'm going to do a multiplication timetable before I go in, go through this whole experience, and then I'm going to do it again right after and see how much faster I can do it. Ready?
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh my god, okay, wait.
So I am David Leventhal, and I am the founder and owner of Lift Next Level Floats.
Oh no, I gotta skip that one. But these ones are hard. How did you, this is...
Flotation therapy has grown out of what was called sensory deprivation. We should remove as much sensory input as possible and see what effect that has on a person.
Stop. Minus 1 second, so 2:55.
Why did you pick one so hard? Okay.
This is 8th grade.
It's 8th grade.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are. This is my home for the next 3 hours. So something I've noticed about myself is whenever it's moments before doing a really hard challenge, I tend to just black out and let adrenaline take over. And what you're watching is me do exactly that. My mind shutting off and not considering what's about to come, and instead my body moving into place because that's what it's supposed to do.
I guess I'm here. Yeah.
Alright, minute 0 of sensory deprivation starts.
When a guest is going into a float tank for the first time, I think initially they're just intrigued by the wonder of this new environment. There are some guests that are initially a little apprehensive, and it takes them a little more time to warm to the experience.
I don't know, I think this morning I just moved so fast to getting here that this feeling of just stillness right now is kind of creating a little, I don't know, a little sense of panic. It might have been because of the research I read this morning, but I think it's the idea of being here so long that's kind of freaking me out a little bit. But I just gotta focus on my breath. Everything's okay.
Between how claustrophobic I felt in this room and how quiet everything got, just 3 minutes in,
Good luck.
my body genuinely went into fight or flight.
But every time my brain thinks of like a new issue, it does send like a jolt of a small jolt of like panic. I think it's really easy for me to be like, let's just shut off this whole thing, kill the idea, and go back to the drawing board. Okay, let me mark it. I'm gonna shut up for 10 minutes and see where I'm at.
So there are some studies that show that people who float experience something called the theta brainwave state of consciousness. Theta is that state that we experience on a daily basis as we're drifting off to sleep. It is a very pleasant state associated with a lot of creativity, and it seems to often happen about 30 minutes into a float.
Whoa. What just happened? Oh my god, whoa. I just fully forgot I was in here. It doesn't feel like the sleep you have at night. It was like almost like I closed my eyes and I just like lived through either memories or fictional events that happened.
Hi there, my name is Tejas Fleur. I'm 19 years old and I'm currently studying entrepreneurship and corporate innovation, business analytics, and technology management. So, what's next?
I remember when I first entered this weird conscious dream state thing, my mind took me somewhere unexpected. A new feeling.
Day 3 of beach vlog.
One that makes more sense to me now, but only because I was floating, zooming out from my life. If I hadn't had that moment of detachment, I don't think I would have ever connected these dots. I still think of myself as a newcomer to New York City. Someone still early in this game of YouTube and filmmaking. Everything I do is still scrappy, and I'm still figuring a lot out. But also, I'm on my 3rd lease in this city. My channel also just turned 5 years old.
I first want to say thank you.
This was a bittersweet realization.
It's an end of a chapter.
Much of my time in New York City so far was having this identity of the new young kid on the block.
Something about the city.
But now I'm 3 years older.
That's crazy to think about.
And time is moving so damn fast.
I was stuck at 4,000 subscribers for maybe 2 years.
But also, I think I'm spending it wisely.
Now we're about to hit.
At least, I hope I am.
Crazy. Let's make some money! Let's put it on!
I mean, I probably could be doing more, but it's not like I'm completely stagnant.
Hey! Let's go! Good stuff, man. Hey. Let's go! Dude, look at my feet. Because one of the biggest fears that I have is that I'm gonna become 80 years old or grow really old and regret that I didn't. And regret.
In our normal daily existence, very often we just gloss over what is happening to our bodies. You know, maybe we're sitting in front of a laptop all day, we're on our phones. In the tank, suddenly these things become very acute to us, and sometimes it's not always pleasant.
It's such a good moment of zen. And I kind of woke up and now I'm like, what needs to get done? Is that what cortisol is? I've never been one to be in tune with that word anxiety. I think I know what it is. I think I felt it. I remember when I was in college, I would have these like super scary moments of like panic. And I think I know what a panic attack is. But also I have this fear of saying those things out loud. Because I think anytime I find myself having a moment of like extreme emotion, whether it's like sadness, anger, anxiety, I always default to, nah man, there's people out there that feel that way more and way harder, and what you're going through is nothing. And I don't know if that's the right way to think about it.
There's an interesting phenomenon. People lose all sense of time. For me personally, when I float, it simultaneously feels like I've been in there for 5 minutes and 5 hours.
Yeah, this is a long hour. I have no clue. I fully expected level 2 to start now.
In our modern society, we're constantly bombarded with sound.
Kind of nervous for level 2 and level 3, I'll be honest. Happy thoughts, happy thoughts.
We have kind of lost the ability generally to experience silence.
1 hour. Ready for phase 2.
The float tank provides a unique environment where people are able to experience silence.
Thank you.
Really for the first time.
As a horn honks in the background.
That's great.
Okay. Level 2, no sound.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I hear like the vibrations in my body.
Okay, before we get into the craziness of level 2 and 3, let's zoom out for a second. How does any of this actually work? And why do the Navy SEALs, Tom Brady, and Novak Djokovic all swear by it? You're telling me it's more than just a fancy bathtub? Well, one reason people use it is for the physical benefits. I mean, you're floating in 1,000 pounds of Epsom salts. And studies showed that flotation therapy, or sensory deprivation, can help with pain management, increased blood flow, improved sleep, all the kinds of things that matter if you're a professional athlete or have a physically intensive career. But even for them, I'd bet that it's the mental benefits that keep them coming back. And yeah, I could list many. Some of the common ones are enhanced creativity, reduced stress, improved mindfulness. There's even a new term I learned called interoception, which is basically how in tune are you with your internal state, your breathing, your hunger, your fullness, all of that. And basically, if you are more in tune with it, you're more self-aware of your body and more emotionally regulated, all interesting stuff. But regardless of all that, here's my TLDR. Everything that I just said, the science and the benefits, I believe is just the final 20% of the value you get from sensory deprivation. The real 80%, well, it's this. The fact that you're simply sitting in your own thoughts, that there's no distractions, no noise, no pings and dings coming from a device. It's just you. And in a world where that's much harder to do, this is getting increasingly more valuable. Sometimes the biggest benefit is just letting your mind wander and see where it wants to go. But that can only happen if you let it.
I just had this thought about how this simultaneously feels pointless to do, but oh man, I've just never sat with my thoughts this long. But weirdly, I think I trained myself to think that if I'm not thinking about video ideas and editing and how to further this thing called business, for this art, then like I'm doing something wrong. That's causing a level of stress, I guess.
So I have recently heard someone describe that in this day and age of cell phones, that we no longer have to experience boredom. We're always a foot away from something that can give us distraction.
What's stopping me, dude? What's stopping me in this world? Most of the time it's my own thoughts. I need to protect my brain. I believe in myself so much. I think I can become one of the greats. I really do. I've thought that since I was a kid. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself, I'm proud of myself, I'm proud of myself. Why am I so anxious?
So hour 2 in the tank was a roller coaster ride. It doesn't seem like much, but having earplugs in made the experience a lot more challenging.
I'll be fine, I'll be fine. We're coming about halfway.
Imagine trying to splash the water beside you, but not getting the audio feedback of a splash.
I love my friends, dude. I love my friends.
I know, it sounds crazy, but small things like that would bug me.
I love my friends.
And I say it's a roller coaster because my thoughts really were everywhere. There were really nice positive ones.
I'm so loved.
But also scary ones too.
This is difficult, man. So much is unknown right now. Like, I don't know what the time is. I don't know where my mind is.
It's interesting to me that when many people meditate, they find it most effective when they shut their eyes with flotation, where you don't even need to close your eyes because you can have complete darkness.
I'm really scared of it going completely dark here. Because I'm already feeling a sense of like, it's weird how fast I can go from like restfulness to like restlessness. I'm just trying to control that. It's really hard. I just want something to do.
The nervous system and brain are also constantly processing sensory information. And when the body is freed of having to spend so much of its processing power on that, to me, it can explore other worlds.
There it is. All right, he's been there for 2 hours. Now, let's turn off the light.
So it is often said that flotation offers users a mild hallucinatory effect. And I personally have experienced mild visual hallucinations, which were quite pleasant. And even without visual hallucinations, I often experience what I would describe as a mild psychedelic-like journey where my mind will just take me on a ride and I go with it.
You know, I think the pain or like little kind of tweaks and things that annoy me about my body in this water have completely gone away. Kind of just feel one with the. I kind of feel one with the water.
Like today, we just ate a bunch of salads and we just like came in. We just made like 10 videos. We like
Many people use float tanks as a way to reconnect with memories. It provides a ripe environment to explore cherished memories.
Where do I even start?
I'm having these like full-on vivid conversations with people in my life that I kind of like suddenly snap out and realize I'm here. Whoa, that was crazy. Imagine you're like in a room with someone like speaking and all of a sudden you snap and they're floating here.
Hey Nick!
Let's go! Wow, can't believe it.
You know, I think I'm 24 now, and there's a lot of people at 17 years old that I don't talk to anymore. And these were people that were really meaningful to me at one point in my life. At one point, I used to know so much about them.
Andrew!
And now I don't know a thing. I can't even hear their voice.
Oh my god, you're gonna. I'm gonna come on my finger.
Oh, and we're back. What would you say was your first impression of me?
Like, how was the college experience?
Please don't leak my number. Yeah.
How do they work?
How are you feeling about this machine?
It's probably the coolest thing I've seen in my life. In my whole life.
Did they still have the same car when we were 17?
Yeah.
You know, it's almost been 10 years since I've talked to some of these people that were once my best friends.
How's it feel to see this?
Oh my god!
Production.
Which one of my friends today am I not gonna speak to in 10 years?
Yeah. Let's go.
Or which ones of them will stay?
And it's the last time that I'm going to see all of my friends potentially in the same place for what could be the rest of my life.
So we have guests come to us for a variety of reasons, and I often tell people you get the float you need, not the float you want.
He's alive.
What's up, man? What's your name? I don't know either. Damn, I don't believe it's been 3 hours.
That's crazy.
Been 3 hours? Good morning.
Oh, you emerged.
Emerged.
Good morning. Well,
Yeah.
since this morning it became this afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
How you feeling?
You know, that's a great question, David. Let's start by voicing over to the last bit of that last hour. So after witnessing what could have been my 4th or 5th existential crisis in a 3-hour period, I was actually able to really relax into a state of stillness. And here's a time lapse of my first hour versus my 3rd hour in the tank. By hour 3, I was way more still, physically. Almost like my body had finally synced with the silence.
Alright, now I'm so still.
So, yeah, weirdly, hour 3, which I thought would be the hardest because of no light, became the easiest.
Lights are coming on.
Most days, my mind feels like a 5-lane highway at rush hour.
It's been 3 hours.
Thoughts speeding by, weaving in and out, honking for attention. But in that late hour, it turned into a quiet country road. Just one lane, no traffic, just a few thoughts, moving slowly and steadily.
At one moment, I was like, I think there's only 2 things activated in my body right now, like my mouth and my brain. Like everything else was I couldn't feel my toes. I couldn't feel my hands, everything.
Oh man, I know you just got out, but multiple choice.
Wait, 3 hours later, second timetable.
3, 2, 1, go.
There's a quote that says most of man's problems come from his inability to sit quietly in a room alone. And funny enough, that was said by a French philosopher back in the 17th century. And honestly, if he thought it was hard to do that then, imagine what he'd think now.
Done.
Wow. Minute 22.
What?
After doing this experiment, I kind of see where he was coming from. I mean, you all saw. 5 minutes into the tank, I nearly called it quits myself because of the panic I started to feel. But now looking back, that's the point. That's when the journey really begins. As uncomfortable as it is sometimes, when you're finally alone with your thoughts, there's nowhere to run. You've got to either solve them, accept them, or get to a place where you're okay filing them away. And if you can get good at sorting in that discomfort, then hey, no matter how chaotic, messy, or loud the world gets, your mind can still go quiet.